You working on training a wild donkey, and you are learning that first you're going to gain their trust, and then you're going to work on helping them gain trust from other people. So here we are, guys. I'm a little bit behind on uploading videos, and this is at Christmas time. My daughter Hannah is home for the holidays, and Cisco here is trusting. I can put on the halter. He's just rocking it. I haven't been putting on the halter for too long. This guy was extremely slow to trust. So we really slowed down and worked on gaining his trust, because although we could touch him, he showed zero curiosity. So today the goal is for Hannah to be able to halter him. Now this video is sped up 2 times the normal speed, and that way we're just gonna make it more manageable, the timeline for you guys. So if you're working on gentling a wild donkey, or you're working with one that's just nervous, but it's domestic, but just nervous, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Now, when we came down to train today, it was so windy, just gusty, cold wind, and the donkeys are not appreciating this weather. So the goal was for Hannah to work on the target training, nose, neck, and then put the halter on. And you can see he's doing okay with all these steps so far. And then pretty soon here, he's going to step away and say, oh no, you can't do this to me. So he's the 17-year-old wild donkey. His name is Cisco. And there, when she gets ready to put that halter on, he says, I'm out of here. You can't do this to me. Now, what we should have done is slow down the whole process. Because he was nervous, what we really needed to focus on is just anything he's comfortable with. So even though I can put the halter on whenever I go in there, and it doesn't take very long, just like a minute or two, having Hannah put the halter on, a stranger to him, was too much to ask for of him at this time. Now, we kept focusing on trying to get the halter on, and it got to the point that every time we would go in there and try to put the halter on, he would just back away and say, no, this is a no-go. You can't do this. What we could have done instead is just kept working on building up that trust and confidence, because once they trust one person, they trust one person. So now we're asking him to trust a stranger. And it was too much on this day to ask him to do that. And you can see how quickly he's just out of there. You're not going to force them to do this. We really want them to be willing and to be curious. But he says that's just too scary for him. Now, at this point, he's quick to move away. He is in his defense mode. And this, again, guys, is where we should have slowed down and just asked him questions that he could say yes to. Whenever we slow down and ask them questions they can say yes to, we're building up their confidence. We're creating a donkey that's willing. But when we keep trying to do something that they're not willing to do, we're building resistance. So here, unintentionally, we were building resistance. And this might happen to you guys. It happens to everybody. You'll be working on something, and then afterwards you're like, oh, I should have stopped 3 steps before I stopped, or I should have stopped there. Because when we don't stop where they're still willing, that resistance that we build up is very hard to break through, especially the longer that we do something that creates resistance, the longer it takes to break through to create that curiosity and willingness. So if this has happened to you, don't worry, you can work through it. Be ready to put in the time. Be ready to ask questions that they're willing to say yes to. Right here, right now, Hannah's just saying, hey, are you willing to come hang out with me? And he says, I don't know, I'm a little bit nervous. So this happens to all of us. And it was my fault, because I'm like, hey, well, you want to go halter Cisco? So she was on a mission to do something that I had asked her to do. I was thinking that he was probably ready for this, and maybe he would have been ready if it hadn't been so windy. But the wind was gusting today. The cold, gusting wind that we get in December in Montana here. So when this happens to you, slow down, ask questions they can say yes to. So what kind of questions can you ask your donkey when they're nervous or they've started to become unwilling? It could be anything. So a little while ago, Hannah was standing a little distance from him, and you might have noticed that he was looking at her. At that moment, he was curious. So you might have to stand many feet from your donkey to create that curiosity. There, Hannah was just trying to move him a little bit to take up his space. And that can be the right way to go, but it can also be adding to their nervousness. We have to always think about, why is my donkey acting the way they're acting? Are they completely comfortable but just refusing? Are they being nervous? Are they upset because of the wind? Are they upset because it's cold out? I've actually noticed Cisco trembling because he's nervous. Remember, he took a long time to get through to, and that can happen with wild and domestic donkeys. They're not all the same, and they're not all the same on the same day or each day. So you might come out there one day and you're able to halter them and do all kinds of things, and then the next time you go out there to work with them, they're refusing to do anything that they would do yesterday. So each time we have to work with the donkey we have today. And here Hannah is just working on, what can you say yes to? Now these yes questions, they're very important. Donkeys really need to know that you care about them. Remember, we're a predator. Our eyes are on the front of our head. They're a prey animal. Their eyes are on their side of their head. They are experts at reading body language, reading how you feel, and interpreting all the situations. Now, because a donkey is more likely to freeze than they are to flee, we have to be watching for all the small cues that they let us know how they're feeling. Right now, his head is straight ahead, and then keep watching his ears, what his ears are doing while she's working with them. All the ways that they communicate, but we don't always notice, include their lips, how tight their lips are, if they have a parrot lip, or if their bottom lip is sticking out further than their top lip. Will they eat, or are they too nervous to eat? What are their ears doing? Are they flicking around, or are they kind of like frozen? If their ears are frozen, that's telling us how they feel. Is their tail calm, or is it swishing? Right now, his tail is just blowing in the wind. You see how he's looking at her? He says, I'm a little bit curious when you're standing there. How close can you get before they start to lean away or walk away? Can you pay attention enough to not advance anymore before they move? Because remember, if they move, we failed. Now, Hannah says, I'm going to quit because it's already been 15 minutes and a little bit here. I go in there to see if I can halter him. And when I go in there to try to halter him, because I normally can, guys, remember, he acts like he's a little bit nervous. So then I retreat. We're not going to do it today. We're going to wait. I hope you found a lot of value in how to handle a donkey who's nervous and working with the donkey that you have today. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I sure appreciate any comments. I'm getting really close to being at 6,000 subscribers. Thank you all for your support.